World champions crowned in the team jumping, but who's on for the individual gold? Speed and precision, the order of the day in the marathon phase of the driving, and more stunning performances in the team competition in the para dressage. Well, hello there and a very warm welcome to you wherever you are watching from around the world to this edition of the Clip by Horse TV in-out studio. What a wonderful day of sport it has been on this penultimate day in Aachen. So much to come and so much to come in our show today. We're going to recap it all for you, but what lies ahead? We're going to talk about that team final in the jumping. We're going to have all of the analysis for you and how it all unfolded last evening. We're going to have some of the rider reactions as well from all of our disciplines across the course of the last, 24 hours. Wow, what a 24 hours it has been. We've got highlights from the driving and from the para dressage that were happening in Aachen today, and we're going to tell you all about our exclusive giveaway powered by Hetzel horses, and that is something you won't want to miss, so hang around for the details on that one to be in with your chance to win. Plenty coming your way on this edition of the In-Out Studio then, as we bring you up to date with everything that's occurring at your World Championships.
Behind every victory and before every cheer, there is a story waiting to be told. It's about all the chapters written away from the spotlight, where partnerships are forged in silence and teamwork drives one shared journey. And now, a new chapter begins.
Presented by Hetzel Horses.
Well, as I said, plenty coming your way in the In-Out Studio. We're going to kick things off with a look back at what happened last evening. So a little bit, I don't even know what day we're on at this point, but a little bit of Day 4 recap in the jumping, because the team final has taken place. And this is the person to give all that analysis to you. She joins me, my friend and colleague, Charlotte Smet from Equirating. Charlotte, hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. You've been a little bit like a budgerigar with a cloth over your cage today, because it's been driving in Paris, so you've been quietly observing. But yesterday, I think, you expended a lot of energy.
Well, I was about to say I woke up this morning and I was feeling it a little bit in my muscles. I did quite a bit of gymnastics while watching that team final. But what a day of sport. It was just thrilling. We watched it all together. We were all jumping around and shouting and throwing our arms and our legs. And it was a lovely day of sport, and it's just exceptional stuff. And the crowds were incredible out there in Aachen.
Yeah, a lot of our colleagues here, ladies and gentlemen, are actually German, and I think we were worse than they were. They were very reserved in their ridiculousness. We were in just being absolutely outrageous. But what a load of sport we have to analyse and get stuck into. But before we do that, obviously the World Championship format is a little different to what we're used to. So to explain how this third part of the jumping competition works, it's Rosie Russell.
This is when the Team World Championship is decided. The second round of the team final is the moment nations have been working towards all week. Only the 10 best teams have made it this far. The scores from the speed competition and team final round 1 are carried forward into this final battle. Nothing is reset. Every fence down, every time fault and every mistake from earlier rounds still counts. Once again, nations can field up to 4 riders, with the best 3 scores contributing to the team total. At the end of the competition, the team with the lowest overall score will become world champion. That sounds quite simple, but the reality is often dramatic. One fence can change the medal positions. A clear round can move a nation from outside the podium into contention for gold. Because teams jump throughout the competition, the leaderboard can change constantly. Sometimes the championship isn't decided until the final rider enters the arena. And if 2 teams finish tied for the lead, the title can be decided by a jump-off. A head-to-head battle against the clock to determine who takes gold. The pressure on the riders is immense. They are no longer riding just for themselves. Every jump affects their teammates and their nation's medal hopes. That's why team jumping often produces some of the most emotional moments of the championship. By the end of this competition, one nation will stand on top of the podium. One nation will be crowned FEI Jumping Team World Champions.
Yes, that's correct, and that they were victorious, jubilant in front of a home crowd. Team Germany taking that victory. It was absolute scenes everywhere you looked, and wonderful stuff it really was. Charlotte, we're going to dig into the analysis about how all that played out, but it does have we want to first highlight the impact that does have now on the individual standings, because it threw things a little bit in the mix, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. This round just counts towards all the riders' individual scores as well. So that team competition is part of that individual competition. So every rider that jumped for a team, those scores also counted towards their individual scores. And we also had some individuals who didn't qualify their team yesterday. They jumped before the team riders jumped. So we still had some individuals there ahead of those team riders. Yeah,
so it was a long old day of jumping, and we've also then got sort of set things up a little bit differently. We're going to talk about a rider who has been there for Canada this week. Now, this is a guy where this is mixed up, of the 4 days of competition have really kind of mixed up where he stands, to the point where we thought we might not see him in individuals, we may not. However, he's trotted up today in anticipation of the fact that he might get through.
Yes, so Kyle Tim had a very successful first 2 days of his championship. Just one rail coming down in that team final yesterday for him, which put him just outside that top 25 that goes through to the individual final. But because you never know what happens in those 2 days leading up to that final, that they do trot up. There's another vet check to make sure that the horses are all fit to compete. They do trot up a couple of those reserve combinations, and Kyle Tim's horse, Casino Calvin, is one of them. So we could still be seeing him in tomorrow's final.
Interesting stuff. And with that in mind, he is our rider in focus tonight.
I'm Kyle Tim. I'm here riding for Team Canada in the World Championships in Aachen, Germany. Yeah, I'm very excited to be there. It's the first time I've been qualified to ride a championship for Canada, and to ride it in Aachen is a dream. I think the group of riders are all a bit more experienced than me, which is a nice place to be, because I think I can learn a lot from that. And yeah, we're here to try and compete and do our best, but I think taking it day by day. My horse was great. He was really focused in the ring. I was really happy with him, but obviously I think the horse can grow with it day by day, so I'm very happy with that. The ring gives you a feel of something special. Warm-ups are amazing, facilities are amazing, so yeah, it's really a pleasure to be there. The Rain family bought this horse when he was, I believe, end of 7-year-old, beginning of 8-year-old, and they always believed in him. He was a little tricky in the beginning, but I've been riding him now for 4 years. We really went step for step. I remember jumping my first meter 30s with him. It's not a horse I went right away into the Grand Prix. You know, we built a whole year jumping meter 50 before we tried a bigger Grand Prix. And yeah, it's been step for step. We were the reserve in Paris, which I think now looking back, we should have been the reserve. We didn't have the experience or the depth of experience that now I see these riders have at this level. And then last year, he took over more experience doing the global tour and doing major league show jumping in the United States. He's jumped in Florida now, most of the big shows, some of the big shows in Europe that we've been able to attend. So I think, yeah, his experience is what it's going to be, and now him and we have to rise to the occasion together.
Yeah, true gentleman of the sport there, Kyle Tim. The best of luck to him as we head towards the individual final. Who knows where the cards may fall in the next 24 hours. It's been an amazing 24 hours in reverse. We're going to talk a little bit more in analysis about that. But before we do, we want to give you a recap of how that team final played out.
Drama unfolded throughout the Aachen Arena as 40,000 fans created a deafening atmosphere on one of the biggest nights in German jumping. Germany were crowned FEI Team World Champions after a dominant performance from all 4 riders, finishing on a score of 3.48 to secure gold on home soil. Marka Zenin set the pace with an early clear aboard Coolio 42. The coolest lady on the jumping circuit, Sophie Hinners and Iron Dame Sinclair, jumped a steady but crucial clear, adding just 1 time penalty to the team's score. The pressure fell to Daniel Deusser and Otello de Goldenboom as Germany's 3rd team rider. He held his nerve, delivering the clear that secured the gold medal. It was Germany's 4th World Championship team medal, but their first on home soil.
I'm very delighted to be part of that team. We started strong 2 days ago, we continued yesterday, but we had to finish today, so it was a lot of pressure today. But it all comes off now. I'm really, really happy.
Richard Vogel rounded out the groundbreaking day with a final clear aboard United Touch, picking up just 2 time penalties to cement the win.
Actually, no words for this team. Amazing. I'm very proud to be chef d'équipe from these guys, and to win at home, it means a lot for us, and I'm totally happy.
European champions Belgium added another medal to their collection as they secured silver on 11.69.
Pressure was on, and we fought and we took it day by day, and very happy to be standing here.
A 6th team World Championship medal went to Great Britain as they claimed bronze on 12.98.
Yeah, absolute scenes, as I said, wasn't it, Charlotte? Incredible stuff. You know, the German team really enjoying. Richie Vogel was the last rider to go out. We knew Germany had won by that point, and the way he went into that arena with United Touch, I told you he's the people's prince of show jumping. I did say at one point, okay, he was just really soaking that up. I was like, this is a moment, wow.
He really just went in there to enjoy himself. I know there's an individual championship on the line as well, but I feel like nothing could have beat his happiness and that moment. Richard Vogel was so happy, and it's almost like United Touch knew as well, because does he wave to the crowd, or am I imagining things? Because that horse, he looks to the crowd, and the way he canters around is lovely. And then to leave all the poles in the cups as well, just 2 time penalties, which drops them slightly down on the individual standings, but just incredible. And even that interview with Otto Becker, I don't know about you, but it gave me goosebumps just listening to you know, how proud he is of his team and how they pulled it off, and they really dominated this team competition. No one was going near them. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, United Touch is the cleverest, goodest boy, so of course he understands. Of course he's taking his applause. We want to dig now into the analysis of how that all played out, because Charlotte is bursting with fruit flavour. She is overflowing with facts and numbers and data. We can barely contain her. Let's get into, well, first of all, we should look at the results as they kind of fell, Charlotte. This is how it all fell down there. Rosie kind of told us about it there, but it, you know, lays it out. Great Britain just in the bronze medal position. Perhaps they would have hoped that they would be a little bit further up that podium, but I tell you what, 16 championship medals. Di Lampard at the helm, wowzers. Absolutely incredible, and the Belgians winning silver and the Germans with their gold. But look at the margin. There's 7 penalties between them. They had a rail in hand and 3 more time penalties. I mean, they absolutely dominated this team competition. It was incredible. Yeah, unbelievable indeed. We're going to dig into that team gold, because just performance after performance after performance, as we said, and in the 2 days, there was not a single rail. Not a single rail for these Germans touched the ground over the past 2 days in that team competition. Like I said, 2 time penalties for United Touch, and then just the 1 for Sophie Hinners, which we will touch on a little bit later. But what makes this more special is this is the 6th time this World Championships is held in Aachen, but it's the first time that home team managed to win that gold on home soil. And I know that there's something that they always want to do. Every nation wants to do well at their home show, at their home championships. But this man, the ice that must run through his veins, because he knew that if he went out there and jumped that clear round, that would be exactly what would happen. They would win the World Championships on home soil and write history. And he just kept it so cool, so collected. He rode an absolute blinder, and it also puts him in the lead of the individual standings, the joint lead. But the way he managed to do that and perform, and his horse as well. I mean, Othello de Guldenboom really fights for his rider so much.
Yeah, really does. And that smile on his face at the end, we say the ice runs through his veins when it comes to doing that job. As soon as he was over that fence and he knew what had happened, the smile almost cracked him wide open. It was unbelievable. So good to see. We want to talk about the word double and gold, Charlotte.
Yes, because as I said, Daniel Deuser is currently a joint leader in the individual standings. We also have Marcus Enning in 4th and Sophie Hinners in 5th. So 3 German riders in the top 5 going into that individual final. Had a look back. Who has turned their team gold into an individual gold? 4 riders have managed to do that, but the last German rider to do it was Franke Slotak and Wei Highway in 1994, so 32 years ago in The Hague. And realistically, we have 3 riders that could potentially do that again. And with a man with ice in his veins like Daniel Deuser and a horse that is jumping absolutely out of his skin for his rider, could we be seeing that again?
The stories write themselves, folks. The stories write themselves. They really do, because, I mean, we almost can't get over. We could wax on lyrical about the German team and the German individual riders, but there are so many stories that are coming out of this World Championships and history being made all over the place. Unbelievable narratives being created.
Definitely. I mean, that Belgian team yesterday, they kind of didn't have the best start to their team final. You know, 8 faults for Nicolas Philipparts, then another rail coming down for Peter de Vos. But this man, Thibaut Spitz, and his incredible stallion, Imprescavant Catanea, jumping this beautiful clear. And we've spoken about his grandfather a couple of times. He's just the biggest fan on the sidelines. But Abdel Said had to come in and deliver another clear. They didn't really have the chance for a drop score. And he, again, kept his cool. It's the first time that Abdel represents Belgium. It's the second time that he represents Belgium at a major championship. He did compete in La Coruña, but the way that he clinched that silver for that team was so impressive.
Yeah, it was unbelievable stuff. It really was. And Abdul was quoted as saying, going into that final, he said, "We're not here just for the fun of it. We're not here to collect rounds."
And the Belgians rarely are. You know, they are the reigning European champions.
Absolutely. And we must talk about, obviously, the Brits as well. I mean, it was an interesting night, because I think there would have been mixed emotions in that squad.
Definitely. They actually had the reverse of what the Belgians had. They had a very good start. They had clears from Ben Mayer and Harry Charles heading out as the first 2 riders. And then, you know, not the best round for Adrian Whiteway and Hello Mango having a fence down, but this man, Harry Charles, we heard from him yesterday or the day before yesterday after, you know, his first team round, and he really wasn't happy with his own performance. And to then come out in a course that is so much more difficult, so much more technical, and produce that round is so impressive.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, because that is a story we've been following, and it's one that I've just really... He was so open and honest. It was so wonderful to hear him, you know, emotional and talking about his horse and how she deserved it, and he really wanted to give her the best possible shout at these championships. And he took himself away, and I said he will take himself away and he'll have a think, and absolutely is what he did, because he is a champion, out and out champion, and that's what he did, and it was brilliant. So wonderful to see.
Foot perfect.
Foot perfect. Yeah, lovely, lovely stuff. We love Frida. We want to talk about... what do we want to talk about? We want to talk about Roberto. That's who we want to talk about. He's our next story. I told you there were so many stories.
Yeah, this is an incredible pair that jumped that team final as an individual, but did so well, jumped a lovely clear round. And this horse, Des Uchthoff, is 18 years old. You know, with that clear round, they're currently 8th in the individual standings. That gives them a place in that individual final. And we look back at the records, and our records go back to 2010, and it is actually the first horse to ever make an individual final in a global championships that is 18 years old. which is absolutely incredible. You know, they've been together for years, and for this to come, you know, so late in their career, this horse is just looks so fresh and happy and, you know, in the form of his life, really.
And an unbelievable family dynasty as well. Just, you know, incredible story that's coming out of it. And actually, Hannah, of course, was down there interviewing every single person who ever lived and breathed at Aachen, including all of our riders after their rounds last night. And she got to catch up with Roberto himself.
When I walked, it looked very technical, very big, like you expect in a championship at this level for the final of the Nations Cup. There were many meter 65 verticals since the start. And the line for the water to the wall, it looked a little tricky for me. I wasn't sure if I was going to do 7 or 8, but he's riding great, and I did the 8, and it worked out perfect. He has a lot of blood, he has a lot of stamina, and he's really brave. Then every time I take him to one of these places that are a little impressive, because of his experience and his character, he grows to the occasion, and he has been fantastic. He went to Tokyo, Denmark, Pan American Games, here twice, and now he's jumping his best. That's great to have the girls here and to have positive energy. It means the world to me, and that makes a huge difference for your performance.
Beautiful to see. Lovely, lovely pictures of the kids there on the kiss and cry enjoying Dad's performances. Wonderful stuff. Well, we spoke about her. She has been busy as a bee down there in Aachen. It is our reporter, Hannah Robson. Hannah, we hope you've recovered from that jumping final last night, because there's still an individual final to come.
I know there was so much happening last night, Amy. I mean, honestly, it was just so exciting down here. You know, I've seen the videos of you guys getting very excited in the studio while we watch, and we were very much the same down here. Tension everywhere. Just next door to us, actually, is the Swedish national TV. They were very excited as well, or, you know, maybe not excited, maybe getting quite tense in there as well. So people coming in and out, great to be down here getting all of those reactions. But as you just mentioned, some of those stories there, they really have been coming through thick and fast all week long, for 2 weeks, in fact. And, you know, the British team you just mentioned there, they were going up, down, in and out of the medal. So it's fantastic for them to finally come through and be able to pick up that bronze medal. And as you say, that moment from Adrian Whiteway, that was quite the shock, but great for the team to come together, as they often do at championships, and pull off that team medal. Another story that was quite tricky to watch through the night was, of course, Team USA finishing in 4th place, but disappointing round from Casey Dynan, unfortunately retiring, and then a couple of shock rails from Lily Keenan as well. Not what they would have expected at all, but very experienced riders on their team. And great for them to still finish in 4th. I really love the story of the Italian squad as well, actually. Some brilliant rounds from them, and we caught up with Giulia Martinengo-Marquez earlier in the week as well, and she just adores that horse. And I think with so many of these stories, you do see that partnership coming through. You mentioned Roberto Teran there, and what an incredible relationship he has with that horse. Long-standing one, in fact, at that, and so much of that coming through. And of course, you couldn't look past the Germans. Everybody here is super excited for that one. My favourite moment for them was, of course, Richie Vogel going into the ring, knowing, in fact, he didn't technically have to jump for the team, but of course with an eye on the individual standings as well. And of course, that's what we'll turn our attention to. So have we got the energy left for that individual final? We absolutely will have. It's going to be electric down here, I have no doubt. Riders pulling out for you there. Of course, Scott Brash, bit of a shock for him. That just one rail, and that just tells you what we were talking about the other day. It's so tight in terms of the scores, and one rail has plummeted him from being at the top of the leaderboard right down into 10th place. So huge change. Of course, Roberto there in 8th place, and I wouldn't actually bet against him pulling up a few more spots tomorrow. We then also, of course, Pier Giorgio Bucci, and you mentioned Abdel Said as well, both of those with 2 clear rounds in consecutive rounds of jumping. So those two also looking very strong. And then I would like to know the Echo Rating stats actually on how many times 2 riders have been tied at the top of the leaderboard in the standings, because that has got to be something very, very special indeed. And arguably we could be in with a jump off if they are both at the top of the leaderboard. That 0.86 is an unbelievable score in any case. But Steve Gerdat often rises to the occasion, and Daniel Deusser certainly would be a home favourite. So much to take in, and I can't wait for what's to come tomorrow.
Thanks so much, Hannah. What a busy couple of weeks Hannah has had. Absolutely running a ragged we are down there. And you almost ran out the door then. I was like, wait, we have a show to do. Do not run off to do the numbers. But she certainly will. We know that. That is for sure. We know we had none of the senior jumping today, but we had other classes going on. We've had this under-25 national competition. We've had an under-21s international competition as well going on. So it's been really interesting. It's a really wonderful chance for these incredible riders, young riders, to get sort of the chance to perform on the world stage. Mr. John Kyle, it's the John Kyle Show, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to explain to us how those classes have been working.
Here at Aachen, alongside the World Jumping Championships, there are two other divisions for youth riders, a German U25 series and a really interesting U21 series. The riders for that come from qualified nations for the World Championships. So if you have a team, you get to send two. If you're a national federation with an individual, you can send one. And that gives us our starting field. And their competitions, well, it's a Table C, then a team competition, then a Grand Prix. Sound familiar? Yeah, it's the same as the World Championships format. For their teams, though, they're going to be drawn at random, so it'll be multinational teams, each one chef-d'equipped by one of the World Championships riders. For the week that's in it, an opportunity to ride in this arena at any time is amazing. During a World Championships is a super huge opportunity for these youth and future of our sport.
You're not wrong. Super stuff, absolutely. And a key player in these classes and keeping a keen eye on particularly the under-25s competition is Holger Hetzel. Now, we're very lucky to have Hetzel Horses on board with us this week as our principal sponsor here in the In-Out studio. Hannah caught up with Holger about his varying roles throughout the course of this week.
Well, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by Holger Hetzel, who of course has been enjoying the action and has played a key role in a few of the riders here this week. Holger, talk to me about your highlights this week so far.
Honestly, I had two big highlights. I was helping and training two guys from South Africa. They were the first time competing in a World Championship, and that was a very, very big thing for them. And I must say at the end they made it very good. They showed us very good rounds here, and never riding on that level before, so that was a really big deal for them. And second, I must say, the sport over the 3 days now with the best riders in the world, and the final yesterday was very, very special for me. Very interesting to see all these good riders. Everybody a little bit in a different way, but how they were riding these big classes here, that was really amazing and very interesting to watch, and also for somebody who knows the sport and sees shows every weekend, it was extra.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, talk to me a bit more about last night then, because you mentioned those are good rounds, and it was such a tough course, wasn't it?
Yeah, the course was really big, I must say, and I think the course changed for the riders. At the beginning, it looks not so big when we saw the first individual riders, but then after it came more difficult. I think it was a light. We changed a lot of things, and the pressure on the team riders, and then finally enough things happened. But I said already, when after the first round of the team competition, the first riders of the team competition, Germany had a clear round, the only one who had a clear round from the first riders. Then I had the feeling that Germany is
strong.
Talk to me as well a little bit about, we've got that high level sport, the top level. Today we've actually had some younger rider classes. Talk to me about your involvement in those.
Yeah, that we had the U25 final, that national competition. We have 4 qualifications over the year on good shows in Germany, with a final here, U25 riders. That is a very nice class to give the people experience, the young people, and when you see like Richie Vogel, Sophie Hinas, they came out of these classes, so they know already Aachen very well from the U25 classes, and that is the idea. I'm the sponsor of that class because it's my passion to develop young people and to follow them on the way up to the big sport, and that is the reason why I'm sponsor of this class. And I think it's a very good thing here for everybody.
Certainly been an exciting day for the young riders as well. Yeah, well, thank you so much for that, and thank you, of course, for your support of our show as well. We'll turn it back over to the studio. Plenty more action to come in Aachen.
The In-Out Studio Show is brought to you by Hetzel Horses. From young talent to top athlete.
And stick around at the end of the show. We're going to tell you all about a giveaway that comes to you courtesy of Hetzel Horses. You won't want to miss it. We're going to turn our attention now, though, to the sport of driving, because it is really hotting up when it comes to driving. Of course, it's all about the precision and the thrills of the marathon today. It has really been going on. And there's one man who is something of a character when it comes to this sport. He really intrigues us, and fortunately, we've gotten to learn a little bit more about him. He's our driver in focus. It's Chester Webber.
I haven't said this officially, but we're sort of gunning for a world record tomorrow. Hi, Chester Webber here, 23-time U.S. national champion, U.S. athlete here at the Aachen World Equestrian Games. Aachen 2006, I was a younger guy at that time, 20 years ago. I was in my 30s, I'm 51 now. The great thing about this sport is you sort of see the old and the young compete with each other. Horsemanship is a lot about knowledge and experience. So maybe what I lack in athleticism, now, I have with experience with horses, and that's invaluable here in Aachen. So Team Golden Tryon in 2018, fantastic. Ed Young was a long time our chef de keep. He passed away the year before. That was hard. It was almost like a tribute to him. Winning Team Gold at home in Tryon, gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. So Amadeus is here, 21 years old, or 21 years young. At 11, I bought the horse. And he was a little bit too hot for the dressage, and a little bit too fractious and rambunctious, and I always sort of learned this from my mother in the horse racing, and just give horses the time that they need, and they'll tell you their schedule. At 16, the horse kind of settled down, and now I would say he's having his best year. For us to win an individual medal, we're going to have to start out with a strong performance. We understood that one, a year ago. The course is incredibly technical. I watched the 3-day eventing last week online. Very similar course. I think you'll see the best of the best. We'll have a tough track, but I hope I can be like Michael Young and make it look like a walk in the park.
Chester Webber there, ageing like a fine wine, Charlotte.
What do you mean he was in his 30s 20 years ago?
I know, I was like, okay, let's not talk about that, but that's amazing. Chester, what a character, what a nice guy, just so likeable, and just bringing ultimate character. This sport of driving just really has them there. Really fantastic stuff. As I said, the marathon, and as Chester was talking about there, the marathon phase of the driving takes place out on that cross-country course we saw getting absolutely pummeled by the superstars of eventing last week, and it was absolutely fantastic. We caught up with some of the riders after their performances today.
It was a strong marathon. very technical, and I must, before the dressage, one horse change it and make a great job and have a gift the heart. And yeah, I'm very proud with my horses.
I was super pleased with my horses. They gave me everything. My left leader got a little bit unbrave in some of the obstacles coming in. Instead of, so we call it like attacking or hunting the obstacle. We really want them to be enjoying it and moving forward and moving forward. I think the terrain is really interesting because it's wet, dry, wet, dry. What is interesting, it's quite it's an amazing surface to work on, but when it gets a little bit wet, it's quite spongy to start with. So you have to make sure you have plenty of power in the wheelers to keep you off the posts and off the balls.
It's always tricky here. There's a lot of balls. There's a lot of tight turns and everything. So I'm really happy I'm clear around here.
It was amazing. It was completely unexpected that it would go that well, because today every horse was in the wrong position, never been in that position before, and they were absolutely awesome. We picked nice flowing routes, and I think many of the drivers, I spoke to a few of the other drivers, and even the top drivers were saying, yeah, they're going to take the more flowing routes because the tight ones were very technical.
It's always when you walk the course, you're like, okay, do I take the risk? You know, normally the longer way is slower, so that's, you know, but I took a lot of risk and all the ball stays up, so yeah, I'm happy.
Wonderful to hear from our drivers there. And Daniel Naprusu, who drives for the UK, Charlotte. Fun fact, Rosie Russell was filling me in on this. Movie fan, big movie fan, Rosie Russell. She's telling me he's a stunt rider, stunt driver, stunt rider, and actor, and he's been in some amazing films. Have a listen to his CV when it comes to Hollywood films. I've written them down. Star Wars, Harry Potter, Jurassic World, Robin Hood, Wonder Woman, Kingsman, and Warhorse. Your man is a fully fledged Hollywood superstar.
He's a movie star.
Yeah, this is a pastime. And
wow.
He's doing quite well for himself in it too. Well done to Daniel. We love to hear it. We love to hear it. We want to go down to our man on the ground. It's the John Kyle Show. As I said, he's been covering the driving as well for us, and he's going to bring us up to speed with where things lie after this marathon phase. JK.
Thank you, Amy. Dan's family is actually multi-generational stunt. About 95% of the horses you see in any production on your screen have probably come from the Naprusus. And as we were saying, Darth Vader was on course because he has stood in for Darth Vader at some stage. I don't exactly know when, how or why, but there you are. So that's breaking news on the in-out. In driving sport, as we saw from some of those rider reactions, it was an incredible day out on marathon. A little bit like cross-country for my sport eventing, there were so many long routes. Through those 8 obstacles, you could go so many different ways. You could choose something that was absolutely geared to what you were driving in terms of the team of horses you had, your skill, your level, with the best guys, of course, making it look so easy. After the day's sport, it is Belgium have moved up into bronze, the Netherlands are in silver, Australia are in gold. Australia only have 2 drivers. We said yesterday, oh, they have no drop score, the pressure is on. Well, my goodness, the pressure has not impacted them one little bit as they go forward into cones. Of course, those 2 drivers, Boyd Excel. The other one, Tor van der Berge. Tor van der Berge, driving for Australia, is a Grand Prix level dressage rider who has worked solidly with Boyd Excel to become proficient at forehand driving, and now he's on the overnight gold medal holding team. It's just an incredible run. Koos de Ronde won the marathon today. We heard from Koos there in those rider reactions. He actually won 4 of the individual obstacles, went out first for the Dutch team, won the marathon, and thus propelled himself right up the standings. The combined totals, though, of dressage and of marathon give us a podium, though, that sees Chester Webber drop down to bronze. He was actually 14th best in the marathon, just showing you what an advantage he had after dressage. Dries de Griek is still in the mix, and Boyd Excel is leading in gold medal position, having had one of the best marathon drives himself of the day. But say, not only is he the winner on paper, but anyone who watched has Koos de Ronde as their absolute winner of the marathon. He went around, he was so smooth, and his horses finished like they could just whip around and go and do it all again. Super, super drive from Koos. And of course, the Dutch, super accurate going into the final day, so they could easily make a move up that leaderboard when it comes to cones. Now, the cones, if you want to tune in, it's going to be 8:30, and you can join us for the final 10 from about 12:45 onwards. And again, like everything here tomorrow, all trying to be wrapped up in time for us all to come together in the main stadium for the closing ceremony, Amy.
Wow, what a party that is going to be. Yes, it's in Out's own Hollywood movie star, John Kyle there. We have got to turn our attention now to the para-dressage, Charlotte, because that's something we've also been enjoying. And we had champions, world champions, crowned today. Let's take a look at the results in the para-dressage. This is the team competition, and it's the United States of America absolutely dominating there. They are the reigning Paralympic champions, and they've just absolutely adding to their accolades here by collecting gold on 236.135, and they actually had the only combination with Kate Schumacher and Vianne. They scored to break 80%. So incredible performances there. They nabbed it ahead of Germany in silver and, of course, the Netherlands there in bronze. So wonderful stuff in the para-dressage. We've talked about this ad nauseam. I keep saying it. I know I sound ridiculous, but the stories that come out of here are the most inspirational, aspirational stories that we could possibly hope for.
They've been lovely stories coming out of that sport, and I've really enjoyed being able to follow them along, because it's not something that I would have done out of my own accord. So it's great that the United Studio can do that. Even get me into a sport that's not show jumping.
Yeah, and we made her cry as well. So good on you to all of our amazing para athletes. We want to hear from some of them now after those World Championship medals were handed out.
I'm super happy with the test. Eros did an amazing job. He's so fresh at this age. I'm so happy to have him. I bought him when he was a 4-year-old, so he was just cell broken when I bought him. Everything I teached him until now is by me. So I'm super happy with everything he's giving to me. He's my best friend.
I really enjoyed the connection with my horse. I think it was so harmonious, and we really stayed together, and we enjoyed this experience together. And that's the reason I do the sport, the connection with my horse.
This is so amazing, just being here and feeling all the people, and all the people who works here are so polite, and you fix things, and your weather might bring all sorts of weather. Maybe tropical sun and then pouring rain, so it's been good, really, really good.
If you said 6 months ago I'd be here, I would not have believed you. It's been an enormous effort from my family to make this happen. It's really hard for us to get to these big championships, have these atmospheres. It's just not available for us in Australia. To come here, to have the opportunity to compete here and understand what it's like to be on a team at international competition at a Games, I think it's just the most amazing step for me for those future teams, hopefully.
There you go, an Australian and crying in the same show. What can we do? JK told me it wouldn't happen, but it is happening. Mia, unbelievable, not one but 2 spinal surgeries in the lead up to doing this. She is a fully fledged equestrian. It was an accident that meant that she has had to compete in the sort of the para-dressage, but her passion for horses has said, there's no way you're getting me off the back of a horse. No, I'm sticking with it. Our man on the ground, he is everywhere, Eddie everywhere. JK, our own Hollywood superstar, has been covering the para-dressage as well. JK, bring us up to date and with all the emotions and the wonderful stories coming out of para-dressage there today.
Yeah, you can't say any different than that, because it's just such a pleasure and a privilege to go down and talk to those guys. I was reminded, talking to them, I did the London Olympics. We all went away for a couple of weeks. We came back for the Paralympics. We were all slightly jaded. We're back in the same venue. And then the first horse and rider came in and something just happened. And that's been my experience every time I've watched para-dressage ever since and been lucky enough to be at the venue. There's just something incredibly special about the connection that they have with horses. horses because, again, if you look out of the corner of your eye, what you're seeing is a horse and rider doing dressage. It's only when you hone in on the details, or perhaps sometimes even when they ride out, having ridden their test, they see their family, their coaches on the kiss and cry, and they go to wave, and their body kind of collapses. You go, how did you just do that when you can't even take one hand away and wave? And, you know, the honesty and the generosity they gave us in all of those interviews as well over the course of their championships so far has just been incredible. Incredible, too, is the USA's score, as you alluded to add the world title to their Paralympic title, because USA are now the torchbearers in this sport. The Netherlands were the first team to ever beat Great Britain. That was a couple of seasons ago, and since then the USA's program has just really come to the fore, and they're setting, it was the highest ever score in Paris, now it's the highest ever score here at the World Championships. So what is next for this incredible sport, bringing together all of those guys, grade 1 through 5, and what I really like is the official description. It's comparative ability. This isn't about disability, it's about putting people who have comparative abilities to ride a horse together in the same grade and let them compete against each other. What has also been quite interesting watching the teams, because of course we've got the individual rankings in those team tests, only grades 1 and 3 saw the exact same medalists come through in the same order. I mean, for instance, you know, Fiona Howard just absolutely blitzed through. She didn't win an individual medal, she won her grade in the team, all going into the freestyle. France won got their first top 3 of the championships so far today, and Italy have been so strong throughout. So the qualification is now set, smaller field for the freestyle. As I say, a fantastic freestyle finale for the 5 grades of para dressage coming up here tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to seeing, you know, the way they emote, the music they choose, the floor plans they choose, and exactly the emotions and the inspiration that will come through from para dressage on its final day with us here tomorrow. He checks his notes, and it is going to be 8:15 for the first horse and rider down the centre line in the first of those 5 grades. And I want absolute kudos tonight. I had to bring 2 in-out show cards, and I got them both the right way up, which I think is actually the first time in the whole championships. Amy.
I think, well, don't worry. Well, kudos to you, JK, for doing that. He got his cards the right way up. I think he manages, all right? I think he's doing okay. If the card's upside down, is the least of his worries. I think we're doing a lot of things upside down around here. Charlotte, it's been an unbelievable 24 hours, and we have another unbelievable 24 hours coming up, don't we? It's going to be super exciting.
Definitely. It's another medal day. It's going to be so exciting, so thrilling. It's going to be tight. The fences are going to be big. The competition is going to be fierce. And if you can't tell, I can't wait.
She can't wait, ladies and gentlemen. Again, will she spontaneously combust tomorrow afternoon before we even get to do this show? Nobody knows. It's not yet known. You'll have to tune in and see. Here's the sport schedule then for you for your final day of competitions in this 2026 FEI World Championships. As John said, 8:15 a.m. for the para dressage. That's the freestyle, wonderful performances and all to music. So get the Kleenex out. You'll be blubbing for those ones. 8:30 a.m. the driving World Championship, 4 in-hand cones. So the final stage for the drivers as well. And at 2:20 p.m. the Jumping World Championship individual final in the main arena, ahead, of course, of the closing ceremony a little later on in the day. So plenty of sport. What a day. If I was at home, I wouldn't be going anywhere. And tomorrow, actually, I won't be going anywhere. I'll be glued. Let's talk about that giveaway, though. Before we leave, we have to tell you about this giveaway. Our very good friend Holger, I mean, he's been like a regular guest all week with us, God love him, and he's been the busiest man at Aachen. He has been doing so much, but his Hetzel horses have provided us with this unbelievable giveaway. So you need to scan that QR code. Don't tap it, Charlotte, you know, like me, I'm a boomer. You need to scan that QR code. There's 2 prizes that you can choose from. One of those is 2 VIP tickets to the 21st Sport Horse Sales evening. So you have a gala evening, VIP treatment, a night in a hotel. It's a wonderful weekend away for you. Or you can have a 2-week training stay with your own horse, courtesy of Hetzel Horses. Now, if we know anything, if we've learnt anything over the course of the last week from Holger, it's that the training is premium. So get it.
Definitely. I am definitely scanning that QR code, not tapping it like others.
Yeah, don't tap it. We want to say thank you very much to all of our teams. They are working so hard, tirelessly, to bring you all of the best from your World Championships, but we do it with absolute joy and enthusiasm. Thank you, Charlotte. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you so
Possibly,
much.
if you don't.
I will make it.
She'll make it.
The state in which I will make it in is questionable.
Questionable. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Until we do, take care.
Nurture the next generation. Develop talent. Shape top riders.
He's up and over. He's got goals. 13.
Against the clock, it really didn't matter.
No scriptwriter could have ever written a better story.